Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Crew Recovery Life Podcast. My name is John A., and I am an alcoholic in West Palm Beach, Florida. My sobriety date is September 13th of 1982. We call ourselves the Crew because although we are deadly serious about sobriety, we want to show others, mainly newcomers, that sobriety is not boring at all. You can visit our website at thezooCrew.org. Feel free to like this video and subscribe to our channel and hit the notification button so you can be notified when we upload new videos. Leave a comment and we will respond. If you like our message of recovery, please share our podcast site with others. In this episode of the Crew Recovery Life Podcast, the topic is how to make the ninth step amends. So, you don't need a sponsor for any of the other steps. You do not. But I highly suggest that you get a sponsor to help you with the ninth step amends. And the reason I say that you don't need a sponsor for any of the other steps is when we used to do our in-person big book step study workshops, used to last Saturday and Sunday all day, we would tell people, if you have a sponsor, bring them. If you don't have a sponsor, no problem. On Sunday morning, we will pair you up with someone to listen to your fifth step. So you can do your fifth step with anyone. But we highly suggest that you get a sponsor to help you with the ninth step. And we would leave them Sunday afternoon with that suggestion as well. Get someone to go over your eighth step names list with you. Because they'll figure out or help you figure out if you should make an amends to each person on your list and also how to go about making the amends to each individual. A word of caution: do not make amends to someone unless you have the complete willingness to do so. If you're making the amends grudgingly, it will show in your words, your tone, and body language. The amends process is all about you. It's about cleaning up your side of the street. The person you're making amends to may have done you considerably more harm than you did to them, but this is about you accepting responsibility for your own actions, admitting your own faults. The person you're making amends to doesn't have to accept your apology either. They don't have to forgive you, but you will still benefit because you did your part. Also, remember that you're not there to grovel and beg. In the end, we are not seeking forgiveness. We are seeking accountability for our own actions and holding ourselves to the standards of our own values and our 12-step program. And this is from the Big Book, pages 77, 78. Under no condition do we criticize such a person or argue. Simply, we tell them that we will not get over drinking until we have done our utmost to straighten out the past. We are there to sweep off our side of the street, realizing that nothing worthwhile can be accomplished until we do so, never trying to tell him what he should do. His faults are never discussed. We stick to our own. If our manner is calm, frank, and open, we will be gratified with the result. So, what's the difference between making an amends and offering an apology? Think of amends as actions taken that demonstrate your new way of life and recovery, whereas apologies are basically just words. When you make amends, you acknowledge and align your values to your actions by admitting wrongdoing and then living by your principles. Prior to getting sober, our actions and intentions were not aligned. For example, we might have intended to go to a friend's birthday party, but in actuality, we failed to show up for the event. While we might apologize later for missing the party, our apology consists of words rather than actions or changed behavior. And those words ring hollow when we repeatedly break our promises. So to truly make amends, we have to offer more than words. And I'm sure you're familiar with the saying that action speaks louder than words. In recovery, our actions and intentions are aligned. An example would be telling someone how sorry you are that you stole from them and actually giving back what you took. What does AA mean when they refer to amends? Well, I'd like to expand the definition of amends a bit by saying that Making an amends means making things right between us, making a person whole again. I think it's also based on the severity of the wrong and the passage of time that differentiates an amends from an apology. If you step on someone's toes, you don't owe them an amends. An apology or a simple I'm sorry is fine. If you break a date at the last minute, an apology is fine, unless that date was to meet at the altar. That is more serious. I also think an amends is recommended when the damage or injury was egregious and with some time lapse. For example, if a wooden fence has a loose board, then all you need to do is hammer that board in. Simple. If you let a few months or a few years go by, then you really need to mend that fence. And do not use the word sorry when you're making an amends. The word apology is acceptable during the amends process, but never sorry. Never use the word sorry when you're making an amends. And please, I can't say this enough. I will reiterate this throughout this talk. It is a good idea to go over your list with someone to ensure that you really need to make amends to that person, as well as planning the best course of action for making the amends. Bill Wilson didn't just arbitrarily choose the word wherever instead of whenever when writing this step. The words are not interchangeable. If you're hasty and reckless in making the amends, you may end up getting drunk. You may end up ruining the relationship irreparably. And this is from the 12 and 12, page 83. Good judgment, a careful sense of timing, courage, and prudence. These are the qualities we shall need when we take step 9. Okay, now to the heart of the situation. How do we go about making the amends? It's best to make the amends directly, as it says in the 9th step. And direct means in person, face to face. The second option for making direct amends is by phone, but not in a text message. The third option is by mail, postal mail. If making the amends will cause more harm than good to that person, then it's best not to make the amends. How about if you cannot make amends because the person is dead or the company is no longer in business? You can make indirect amends. How about if your parents only want you to stay sober and don't need you to pay back money you may owe them? While you owe them a lot more than money, you owe them peace of mind and serenity. Think about the times they stayed up at 2 o'clock in the morning waiting for a phone call. Are you in jail? Are you in the hospital? Are you in the morgue? So you should do something for them as well. Maybe send them on a cruise, send them on a trip. If they like to play golf, get them a golf outing. If they like to collect stamps, buy them some stamps, coins, buy them some coins. Do something tangible for them. And don't just say, "Oh, all my parents want me to do is stay sober. They don't want anything from you." That's no, that's not enough. What should you do besides making a living amends? Is an amends without follow-up action enough? Offer an apology of words, but also offer an apology of actions. Action speaks louder than words. You may not have stolen a single thing from your parents, relatives, or friends. You may have gotten along very well with them and repaid them for every single cent they spent on you for one reason or another. So, how could you have possibly harmed them? Why should they be on your amends list? Again, think about the peace of mind that you stole from them. We have done harm that we cannot even imagine. And I remember hearing one person talk about his mother thanking him after he quit drinking because she could now go down to the corner store and buy a gallon of milk. Wait, hold up. Did he kidnap her? Lock her up to prevent her from going to the corner store? No, not really. It turns out that his mother's friends would often be at the corner talking about their kids and how well their kids were doing. She, on the other hand, had nothing good to say about her son, so she avoided her friends as much as possible and eventually went to a store that was out of the way. But after he quit drinking and turned his life around, She could then visit with her friends and have good things to say about her son also. So again, we can't even imagine the harm that we have done to our loved ones. And what is follow up action? Again, it's very simple. Words mean very little. It's your actions that count the most. If you owe money to the IRS or any other debtor, call them and make payment plans, but be prepared to send them some money right away. How about if you owe back child support or alimony? Call them and make payment arrangements, but also send some money right away. Send a check, enclose a check right away. Nowadays, you have Cash App and these other ways to send money right away as well. And once you've started on this 9 step journey, you'll be shocked at how your higher power will help you in getting this done. Let's say you're from Alaska, you live in Alaska, you moved from Alaska, and now you're living in South Florida. You will be surprised when you get to this step how many people from Alaska will cross your path down here in Florida. You will be surprised. That will happen once you get into a 9 step mindset. Once you get into this mindset of making the amends, your higher power will help you. And again, please get a sponsor to go over the list with you and devise a course of action for each person on your list. There will be names on your 8th step that your sponsor will cross off. You do not make amends to your drug dealer. You don't make amends to your ex boyfriend, girlfriend, your ex spouse if you don't have children with them. You don't try to make amends to someone you know for a fact does not want to hear from you. If friends, family members, or former work colleagues have explicitly told you that it would be hurtful to hear from you, don't force the issue. You can respect their wishes and still make the desired progress in your recovery by paying it forward and volunteering in your community, doing service work in Alcoholics Anonymous, service work with your family. Uh, so if you know for a fact that they do not want to hear from you, do not try to make an amends. And again, get that sponsor because you need someone to help check your motives for making the amends. Get the guidance you need for this step. It's okay to write a script that you can memorize and follow when making the amends. If you write an amends, have your sponsor read it and make changes before sending it, whether you're sending it by mail, postal mail, snail mail, or email. Have someone read it over before you hit send. If you go if you go at the amends process carelessly and without preparation, you will probably ruin the relationship further, or you may get drunk. My sponsees are usually on the 8th step within a month or two, but I tell them to hold off on making amends until they have perhaps about 6 months of sobriety or more. You don't want to start making amends with only a few weeks of not drinking under your belt because you may relapse. Taking the time to truly think through an apology is far more valuable than a rushed one. It will also give those closest to you time to evaluate and see your behavior has changed. Therefore, it will lend more credence to your amends when you make it. When making the amends, you want to be as specific as possible about the wrong you did or how you hurt that person. You want to give details about your actions that caused harm to him or her. Just saying that you were wrong is not enough. It is best to specifically name your fault or faults. This will show that you are taking full responsibility for your actions. It may help to even write down the wrongdoing in detail and come prepared. It's important to make sure the person understands that resolving the problem truly matters to you. Being detailed in your conversation demonstrates that you care and have thought things beforehand. On some rare occasions, people who have set out to make amends are told that the incident they were so troubled by didn't really happen or didn't happen the way they thought it did. And be willing to listen to their side of the story, their opinions or thoughts regarding the wrongdoing. Validate their feelings by showing them you understand why they were hurt. It isn't helpful to make them feel wrong for how they feel. Be empathetic and listen with an open mind. Don't shut them down. Also, make direct eye contact and nod your head as they explain their feelings to you. Make sure you do not interrupt. Interrupt as little as possible. You want to ensure your body language shows that you're listening as well. Ask the person what you can do to make things right. That's an amends. How can I make things right between us? Show them that you're willing to work towards regaining their trust again. If you're not willing to ask how you can right the wrong, you are not ready to truly make an amends. Remember, however, that just because you are trying to improve doesn't mean that everyone else is going in that same direction too. There may be a situation when the person has an outlandish or manipulative request that you cannot fulfill, and you do not have to. In this case, thank them for the opportunity of letting you take responsibility for your mistake. Then tell them you cannot fulfill it, but are still remorseful regarding your actions. If making amends doesn't play out the way you wished it would, let it go. Let it go. You took the initiative and made an effort by taking responsibility for your actions. The purpose of making amends is not to receive the right reaction from the other person. Truthfully, there is no right reaction. If the person you've just made amends to does not accept them, don't let that take away from the purpose. You are improving your character in the process. And step 9 is a very tall order indeed, but one that will benefit you in many ways. This is another one of those freeing steps. You'll be able to look at yourself and others in the eyes. Self-esteem is built up by doing esteemable acts, and making the amends will build up your self-esteem. You'll be able to go anywhere without feeling that you must watch your back. You'll be able to answer the door again. You'll be able to let go of the past. You'll be able to answer the phone again. You'll be able to open your mail without trepidation. You'll put on a new pair of glasses. But the big book sums up some of the benefits of step 9 much better than I can. And this is from the big book, pages 83, 84. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. And those were the ninth step promises, again from the big book, pages 83, 84. But please remember, the best amends is changed behavior. And you don't want to mess up your amends with an excuse. And never use the word sorry when you're making an amends. In parting, we suggest that you get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone until it becomes comfortable. And this ends our podcast, but before parting, I'd like you to get to know hope so that you can get to know recovery. Because if you have no hope, there might be no recovery. Be a hope dealer. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we did here, followed by the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And thank you for listening to the Thru Recovery Life podcast on how to make the ninth step amends. My name is John A., and I am an alcoholic in West Palm Beach, Florida. My sobriety date is September 13th of 1982. Please visit our website at thezooCrew.org, thezooCrew.org. Feel free to like this video and subscribe to our channel and hit the notification button so you can be notified when we upload new videos. Leave a comment and we will respond. If you like our message of recovery, please share our podcast site with others. Thank you. Have a great day. And remember, you never have to have a bad day, just bad moments.